When we think about testing new ideas, one of the biggest mistakes founders make is assuming there's only one way to launch a minimum viable product. In reality, MVPs come in many different forms, and the best approach depends entirely on what you need to learn. There's no one size fits all MVP. The right method depends on your stage, your budget, your target audience, and your riskiest assumption. Some MVPs are designed to validate whether a market even exists. Others focus on usability, helping you see whether customers can actually navigate your product. Still others test the operational side. Can you deliver the service effectively? What matters is that all MVPs share a common goal: to validate assumptions quickly with minimal resources and before you overinvest. Understanding the different types of MVPs gives founders flexibility, creativity, and a toolkit for learning fast. The reason there are different MVP types is that startups face different risks. For some, the biggest uncertainty is market demand. Will people even care about this product? For others, it's usability. Will people know how to use it, and will they enjoy the experience? In other cases, the risk lies in operational delivery. Can you actually fulfill the promise at scale? This is why we say there is no single way to test an idea. The right MVP depends on the specific question you need answered. A landing page can validate interest before you write a single line of code. A prototype can validate whether your interface makes sense before you build the backend. A concierge MVP lets you see whether customers will pay for a service before you automate it. A Wizard of Oz MVP lets you simulate advanced technology before you've actually built it. Your goal is always the same: validate your riskiest assumptions with the least effort and cost. Different MVPs exist to match the different risks startups face. The landing page LVP is one of the simplest and fastest ways to test market demand. The idea is to create a simple website that describes your product's core value proposition. You focus on clarity, what problem you solve, for whom and how. Then you add a call to action, such as a sign up form, a waitlist registration, or even a pre order button. This allows you to measure real demand, not just polite interest. The power of this method lies in its simplicity. You can build a landing page in a day using no code tools. Then you can drive traffic through ads, social media, or email campaigns. By tracking conversion rates, you learn whether your messaging resonates and whether people are willing to take action. One of the most famous success stories here is Dropbox. Before building their complex syncing technology, they created a simple landing page with a short demo video. The result was 75,000 signups in a matter of days. That demand validated the concept and gave them the confidence to invest in development. The landing page MVP is perfect when your biggest question is, do people even want this? The prototype MVP is ideal when you need to test usability and design before full development. Here, you create an interactive mockup using tools like Figma, InVision, or lightweight code frameworks. The prototype simulates the product experience. It looks and feels like a product, but it doesn't yet have the back-end functionality. This allows you to test the experience with real users. You can see if they understand the workflow, if they get stuck, and whether they find the design intuitive. You can validate the interface before writing complex code. The key value is that you can gather insights early. Instead of guessing what features users want, you watch them interact with your prototype and collect feedback. This guides real product development and saves months of wasted engineering. Prototypes are especially valuable for apps, digital platforms, and software products where user experience is critical. They answer the question, can people use this the way we expect them to? The Concierge MDP tests whether people actually want your service by manually delivering it yourself. In this model, the founders perform the service manually behind the scenes. Customers interact with what feels like a polished product, but in reality, everything is powered by human effort. You, the founder, are the backend. This approach is perfect for testing the end to end experience. Customers get to feel the service, and you get to observe how they use it, what they value, and what they complain about. Because you're doing everything manually, you can adjust quickly and learn on the fly. One classic example is the early days of Seamless, a food delivery platform. Instead of building complex logistics software upfront, the founders literally drove around neighborhoods, hand delivering meals for restaurants. It wasn't scalable, but it proved people wanted the service. Concierge MVPs are best when your question is, will people actually pay for this service? They validate demand before you automate or scale. The Wizard of Oz MVP is similar to the concierge model, but with a key twist. The product appears fully automated to users, even though everything is still manual behind the curtain. The benefit is that customers feel like they are experiencing the finished product, but you avoid the cost of building complex infrastructure. This allows you to test at scale, handling multiple users simultaneously without investing in expensive technology. It's particularly useful for AI products, automation tools, or marketplaces where the technology is complicated, but the user experience should feel seamless. A famous example is Zappos. Founder Nick Swinmurn created a simple website where people could buy shoes online. But when customers placed orders, he personally went to local shoe stores, bought the shoes, and shipped them. It wasn't scalable, but it proved the core assumption that people were willing to buy shoes online. The Wizard of Oz MVP answers the question. If the technology existed, would people use it and pay for it? So how do you decide which MVP type to use? It depends on your riskiest assumption. If your main uncertainty is market demand, use a landing page MVP. It quickly tells you whether anyone cares about your idea. If your main uncertainty is usability, use a prototype MVP. It shows whether users can navigate your design and whether the experience makes sense. If your main uncertainty is service adoption, use a concierge MVP. It validates whether people will pay and how they interact with the service in real life. If your main uncertainty is scalable automation, use a Wizard of Oz MVP. It tests whether users will engage with a fully automated looking product, even if you're still doing the work manually behind the scenes. The key is not to build for the sake of building. The key is to choose the MVP type that validates your biggest unknown with the least cost in the shortest time. The beauty of MVP thinking is that it gives founders permission to learn before they leap. It removes the illusion that you must build a perfect product before testing demand. Instead, it offers a flexible toolkit: landing pages for testing interest, prototypes for testing usability, concierge services for testing adoption, and Wizard of Oz models for testing scalable automation. The lesson is clear. Your MVP is not about impressing people, it's about answering your riskiest questions. The smartest founders know how to choose the right MVP type at the right time. They test, they learn, they adapt, and they move forward with confidence. Remember Dropbox, Seamless, Zappos, all of them began with simple MVPs, not finished products. Those scrappy experiments became billion-dollar companies because the founders focused on learning, not perfection. So as you think about your own journey, ask yourself, what's my riskiest assumption? Once you know that, choose the MVP type that tests it fastest. That's the path to building not just products, but businesses that endure.